Well, hello there and welcome to Justice for Wesley. This YouTube channel, as mentioned in its About section, was created in memory of Eugene Wesley Youngblood, a black man and my cousin who died under suspicious circumstances while in the custody of the Lancaster California Sheriffs Department on Thursday, June 5th, 2024. The purpose of this channel is to keep the public informed and shed light on the details and events surrounding his untimely death. This channel will be routinely updated as new information becomes available and as events unfold. If you can, please donate to the Help Wesley's Family Seek Justice GoFundMe page, which you can access with the GoFundMe search terms Eugene Youngblood, Wesley Youngblood, or Help Wesley, or by using the link which I've provided in the description of this video. My family greatly appreciates it and any support you can give. Please share and repost this page or the stories contained within it, and keep our family and friends in your thoughts and prayers. For those of you wondering, my name is Demita and I am one of Wesley's first generation cousins, as his mother and my dearly departed mother were sisters. Wesley and I grew up together. Wesley is 3 years my senior, and he's more like a brother to me than a cousin. Wesley was closest to our cousin Najee. Growing up, the two were inseparable. They were pretty much the dynamic duo, and with me, the three amigos. I, however, did move out of state over a decade ago. In fact, Wesley helped me pack up my things, load up my truck, and even made the out-of-state journey with me to help me get my things into my new place, because that's what kind of guy he was. I have not been to visit my home state of California since 2017, a visit during which I was not able to see Wes. On Thursday, June 5th, 2024, I made the 6-hour bus trip down to California to attend my 14-year-old niece's junior high school graduation, which took place on Friday, June 6, 2024. When I arrived in California, the first thing my sister said to me was she had seen Wesley the day before in her neighborhood and that he liked to hang around there. She then proceeded to drive us by 10th Street West and Avenue I so that we could see if we could lay eyes on him, knowing it would delight me to see my cousin while I was in town. But it was to no avail, because unbeknownst to us, he had already been arrested. I then got the early morning phone call from my adult niece with the news of his death right before the start of my adolescent niece's commencement ceremony. I opted not to divulge the news of his passing to my sister and niece until after the graduation, so as not to spoil my niece's big event. Imagine having to smile and act like everything is okay and all is well for hours on end, when inside you're screaming and crying. Imagine knowing you're about to replace one of the happiest events in a child's life with some of the most devastating news you could ever give another human being. Imagine being super excited about the prospect of seeing one of your favorite loved ones, whom you have not seen in person in 11 years, only to have to come to terms with not only the fact that that now cannot and will never happen, but with the fact that this person was stolen from you on the very day you arrived after an 11-year absence. It should also be known that this is the second time in a 2-year period that my family has been plagued by such an injustice, as Wesley is also a second-generation cousin to Rashad Hakeem Jr., the 15-year-old rising basketball star and honor roll student killed in Fresno, California by the already previously convicted for a felony DUI Caucasian female Lisa Spores, who, while under the influence of narcotics, ran him over with her vehicle and then left the scene. She was sentenced to only 5 years for stealing little Rashad's life. Rashad Sr. and Wesley are first-generation cousins, as Rashad's dearly departed father was brother of Wesley's mother and of my deceased mother. Rashad Sr. is also the younger brother to Najee, whom I mentioned earlier. I will include a link in this video's description to news regarding that story as well. So, what exactly happened? What made the circumstances of my cousin's death so disturbing and questionable that newspapers are compelled to write stories about it, that press conferences are being held, and that this channel had to be started? Well, let me share with you the timeline of events surrounding his arrest and death, most of which were first presented by my cousin Janelle, Wesley's big sister, and his niece Vanessa, Janelle's daughter, during a press conference held by the family in front of the Lancaster Sheriffs Station on Saturday, June 7, 2024. So the timeline of events. Item number 1. Thursday, June 5th, 2024. At approximately 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Wesley talks to his niece Vanessa on the phone and promises to come by later to give her back her house keys. Item number 2. 3:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, June 5th, 2024. Wesley is approached by Lancaster Sheriff's officers and arrested on Avenue I and 10th Street West in Lancaster, California. Item number 3. 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, June 5th, 2024. Wesley is discovered unresponsive, during which time officials left his cell to get an ambulance. Item number 4. At approximately 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, June 5th, 2024. Officials return with emergency medical services personnel. Wesley is given 2 spray cans of Narcan and CPR, all of which fail. He is then declared dead. The ambulance leaves, and he is never taken to the hospital. Item number 5. 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, June 5th, 2024. After hearing through the grapevine of her uncle's arrest, his niece Vanessa calls Lancaster Sheriff Station to verify her uncle is detained within their custody and to discover if she can come down to their station to retrieve her house keys, which were in his possession at the time of his detainment. Item number 6. 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Thursday, June 5th, 2024. His niece Vanessa is told by Lancaster Sheriff's Office personnel there is no need for her to come down to retrieve her keys, as Wesley would be cited out or released from their custody in a few hours. Item number 7. 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. His niece Vanessa falls asleep waiting up for him. Item number 8. 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's body is being picked up from the Lancaster Sheriff Station by the coroner's office. Item number 9. 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Lancaster Homicide Division attempts to contact Wesley's niece Vanessa, but they only get her voicemail, so they leave a message. Item number 10. 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Vanessa calls the unknown phone number back and speaks to Officer Bell with Lancaster Homicide, who informs her that her uncle suffered a medical emergency due to an underlying medical condition at 9 p.m., during which time officials left his cell to get an ambulance, later returned around 9:30 p.m. and administered 2 doses of Narcan and CPR, after which he was declared dead. Item number 12. 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Vanessa calls the Lancaster Sheriff's Station directly to verify Officer Bell's claims, but is told they cannot disclose any details to her, at which point she calls Officer Bell back to ask if she can identify her uncle's body to ensure it is truly her uncle before breaking the news to the rest of her family. At which point, Officer Bell informs her that her uncle's body has already been relocated away from the sheriff's station. So she asks to see a picture, which Bell adamantly advises against, so she ends her phone call with him. Vanessa then consults other family members for support on the best way to break the news to her mother, grandmother, aunts, and remaining uncle. Item 13. Approximately 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Vanessa calls her mother, Wesley's eldest sister, to relay the news just given to her by Officer Bell. Item 14. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle leaves work and comes down to the Lancaster Sheriff's Station only to be told by front desk staff they are unaware of anyone dying there. Item 15. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle asks to speak to someone, so staff go to get someone for her to speak to, but fail to come back with a person, and instead give her a phone number to Officer Bell, which she already had by means of her daughter Vanessa. Item 16. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle calls Bell and requests to see her brother's corpse to ensure it is really him and not a case of mistaken identity, and to ensure there are no signs of mistreatment on his person. Item 17. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle speaks to Homicide Officer Bell and requests her brother's corpse, and is then told by Officer Bell that her brother's body had already been picked up at 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time that day being Friday, June 6, 2024. Janelle questions the moving of her brother's body since the family had not yet been notified of his passing. Janelle also questions Officer Bell about her brother not calling home, as he is the youngest of his 5 siblings. He is very adored and spoiled by them, and thus knows he can reach out to them for anything. Officer Bell informs Janelle that Wesley refused to give the sheriff's office any personal contact information. Item 18. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle reiterates to Homicide Officer Bell the desire to lay eyes upon her brother's body, and is again told the body is already gone. So she asks to see a picture, and is told by Officer Bell she doesn't want to see a picture. So Janelle then inquires about the location of her brother's belongings, as she wants to retrieve them since her daughter Vanessa still needs her house keys, which were in Wesley's possession at the time of his arrest. Officer Bell responds by telling Janelle he is unaware of the location of Wesley's property. Janelle goes on to ask Officer Bell who picked her brother up, to which Bell advises the Los Angeles County coroner. Exasperated, Janelle abruptly ends her phone conversation with Officer Bell. Item 19. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle phones the Los Angeles County coroner and was informed to call Robert Ferreira, the deputy for the coroner's office stationed in the Antelope Valley, which she then proceeds to do. While speaking to Mr. Ferreira, Janelle is asked to meet him outside of Lancaster State Prison, which is give or take 7 to 10 miles away from the Lancaster Sheriff's Station. Now, this is not Lancaster Sheriff's Office where her brother was being held prior to his death. Item 20. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle meets Deputy Ferreira outside of the Lancaster State Prison and is provided some, not all, of Wesley's property and a picture of his deceased body from the neck up. The picture provided to her shows Wesley's nose was twisted and one of his eyes appeared black and swollen shut. Wesley had 2 gold chains, one real and one fake, a cell phone, his niece's house keys, and $500 in $20 bills on him at the time of his detainment. But on the property slip provided to Janelle by Deputy Ferreira, Wesley was reported to have only $1.85, a dollar amount that was listed over an entry that had been whited out, and that clearly shows under light or by viewing the page from the backside the original whited out dollar amount to have been $500. And the chain returned to her was the broken fake gold chain. His cell phone and niece's house keys were missing from the report and were never returned. The inmate's signature contained within this report does not match any of Wesley's signatures. Item 21. Unknown Pacific Standard Time, Friday, June 6, 2024. Wesley's sister Janelle is then told by Deputy Ferreira that her brother died at 10:07 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, not 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as originally reported to her by the Lancaster Sheriff's Office and/or Officer Bell, and that Wesley was picked up for a felony drug possession, not a misdemeanor warrant as originally reported to her by the Lancaster Sheriff's Office and/or Officer Bell. Janelle questions Deputy Ferreira about the inconsistencies and asks for verification of her brother's actual arrest reason, to which Deputy Ferreira advises her he does not know which one is the actual reason for Wesley's detainment, as he is simply relaying to her the information given to him by the Lancaster Sheriffs Department. Item 22. Approximately 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Saturday, June 7, 2024. The family holds a press conference hosted by Dr. Miguel Coronado with agents of change and members of the AV press outside of the Lancaster Sheriff Station. About 3 minutes into the proceedings, several police vehicles are dispersed with their sirens ablaze, drowning out the sound of the voices of those speaking during the ongoing conference. At one point, even, a sole uniformed officer runs behind the view of the cameras, but right in front of the family and news crew, and out into the street to a squad car. And then later, the sprinklers are turned on those gathered for the conference. These actions, all present, perceived as a blatant attempt to intimidate Wesley's family and loved ones, a display of unashamed disrespect, a horrendous exposition of unprofessionalism and conduct unbecoming of an officer in any civil servant department, and a showing of utter lack of empathy for both Wesley, the deceased, and his family and friends. My family feels that no action taken by the Lancaster Sheriff's Office from the time of Wesley's arrest to the time of his death was within proper protocol or policy and procedure, and were executed without integrity, without competency, and without compassion. The Lancaster Sheriff's Department's actions during the press conference were insensitive and indecent, and their message to Wesley's family was strong and loud. Not only were they likely responsible for Wesley's death by direct misconduct or negligence, but they do not care, feel no shame about it, and fear no reprisal for their actions, so much so that they felt confident to say "fuck you" to his family by means of their actions. The message they sent his family that day, and to all those watching, was that the Lancaster Sheriff's Department works to protect and serve itself, not its citizens. I have included links in the description of this video below to the press conference mentioned above and to other press conferences and news articles following this story, as well as to the Help Wesley's Family Seek Justice GoFundMe page, which you can again access by means of the GoFundMe search terms Eugene Youngblood, Wesley Youngblood, or Help Wesley. I would like to take the time to point out the inconsistencies, questionable actions, and resulting unanswered questions derived from this timeline that make this situation a terrifying and disturbing one. But before I do, oblige me, if you will, by first taking a moment to think about the youngest adult male person in your life whom you absolutely adore. Now, without thinking of their character or conduct, I want you to apply every question, scenario, and statement you are about to hear to that person. So every time I say Wesley, you think of your adored person's name. Inconsistencies and questionable actions. Item number 1. Wesley's eldest sister Janelle was given 3 different reasons for her brother's arrest by 3 different officers. Item number 2. Wesley's niece Vanessa, daughter of Wesley's sister Janelle and person with whom he was currently living, called the Lancaster Sheriff's Station at 9:30 p.m. on Thursday, June 5, 2024, and was told Wesley had been arrested on a misdemeanor warrant and would be released or cited out. But he was already dead. How can you cite out or release a dead person? Why was she not told then of her uncle's death? Item number 3. His sister Janelle was told by the sheriff's office staff that they have no knowledge of anyone dying there. Why did they not know or claim to not know? She came there a day after he died. Item number 4. His body being moved before the family was informed of his death. Item number 5. His body being moved before an official or formal identification by the family was conducted. Item number 6. His body being moved without consent of the family. Item number 7. Death notification attempt being made to the family 7 hours after his death. Item number 8. Officials being adamant against showing and discouraging family from viewing photos of the deceased. If he died due to a medical emergency and not from misconduct or negligence, then why all the fuss over even viewing a picture of his body? Item number 9. Pictures shown to his family of his deceased body being only from the neck up. He appears to be fully clothed in the photo released to the family. So again, if he died due to a medical emergency and not from misconduct or negligence, then why were the photos of him only from the neck up? Item number 10. The neck up photo given to the family shows both of Wesley's eyes were swollen shut and one looked discolored, and his nose looks displaced. Sure, eyes can swell shut due to allergic reactions, ribs can be cracked during CPR, and minor bumps and scratches can occur if you have to remove clothing or the person themselves before rendering aid. But a black eye and a broken nose? What are the chances of that? How does that happen? So how did these injuries come to be on his person? Especially since they were not witnessed as being present prior to his arrest on the day of his detainment. Item number 11. No sheriff's office official has been able to advise, clarify, or explain just what was the underlying medical condition they claim Wesley suffered from. Item 12. He was given not 1, but 2 doses of Narcan. What prompted them to administer this in the first place? And why 2 doses? Item 13. Wesley not being granted the customary one phone call granted to all detainees. Item 14. Official spontaneously informing his niece Vanessa that they had no family contact information for him. Now, the family, our family views this as an attempt by officials to cover their you-know-whats. We feel that they're using this as an excuse to delay in their contacting the family for notification of Wesley's medical emergency and passing. Item 15. Officials claiming Wesley gave them no emergency contacts for him. Even without his cooperation, there would have been some viable last known contact on file for him because he was already in their system. Item 16. Why did it take nearly 30 minutes for the ambulance to arrive? It only took 5 minutes to show up to drown out the family's voices with their sirens fiasco during the press conference. Item 17. Why was he never taken to the hospital? Item 18. His sister Janelle is given 3 different times of death. Item 19. Why was there whiteout on his property slip? Whiteout is never to be used as a corrective measure on any official or formal document, and that's across most industries in most professional settings. Item number 20. Why did the signature on the documents provided to the family not match his? Item 21. Why were his phone and niece's house keys, which the family knows were on his person at the time of his arrest, not listed on the property slip? Why were they never returned? Item 22. Why were his real gold chain and money not returned? And why was the dollar amount of his money altered on the property slip? If he was picked up on felony drug charges with the intent to sell, as they claim, they could have easily excused the retaining of his possessions. But instead, they don't even acknowledge their existence or acquisition into their custody. Such actions lead us to think, who pocketed his money? Who's wearing his chain? What was on his phone that they don't want us to see? Will they claim to miraculously rediscover the house keys? And then will they try to find some false pretense to use them? Now, with thoughts of your adored person still deeply on your mind, tell me, would you find the 22 aforementioned items questionable? Would you feel officials were hiding something? Would you suspect misconduct or negligence? Would you want answers? Where would you stand, and how would you feel if you stood in my family's shoes?